Welcome to the Mindfully Gay podcast. I'm John Cottrell.
And I'm Jerry Buie. In this episode, we're exploring the meaning behind bromance, how men connect emotionally, physically, and spiritually beyond the stereotypes.
We're talking about friendships between gay and straight men, the comfort and awkwardness of affection, and how we can create real, heart-centered brotherhood.
We'll share stories, laughter, and honest moments that remind us connection doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be authentic.
Let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindfully Gay podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Jerry.
And we've got another thrilling episode for you. So, as always, we're always kind of going back and forth on what should we talk about? What should we talk about? We have this wonderful list, actually, that we've curated, and you've helped us to curate as well. You give us great ideas, so thank you. Keep coming, keep bringing us those good ideas, because we might end up on the podcast as a topic. And so we were inspired by just the word. Actually, I heard this from someone else. So someone else inspired this particular conversation. And the word is bromance.
Ooh.
Bromance. Are you in a bromance?
You've never heard that before?
Well, I have, but we've never brought it up. And
why, do you have another bro on the side?
Oh, well, no. I might. And so we're gonna talk about bromance, but really kind of expand on that particular topic, and I mean just the different types of relationships that people may have. Maybe in particular, how gay men may have relationships with each other, either friendships or friends with benefits or fuck buddies. Can I say that?
Beep.
Can I say that? And even just beyond that, having gay friends. What was it? Gay and straight friends?
Yeah, like gay guys who are friends with straight guys.
Exactly.
Or straight guys who are friends with gay guys.
Yes, perfect. So that's where we're going to go with this. We don't know exactly how it's going to all flow, but really just bringing that to the table, and just kind of taking a look at these particular styles of relationships, and perhaps one way we can kind of look at this is maybe what it brings to the table, maybe how it enhances relationship, or what how I don't even know how to form this question, how community is formed just beyond our scope of just community.
Well, I mean, there's so many variations to this, right?
Right.
And just as you were talking, this came into mind. I didn't think about it yesterday when we were talking about this topic, but it's an observation that I have, and I wonder if we can share it. I think you can get a group of gay men together, and there's kind of like this energy. Sometimes it's campy, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's flirty and sexy. But when you get gay guys together, like there's a particular kind of energy. And then if a straight person wanders into the mix, it often feels like the dynamic shifts.
It changes.
Suddenly we have manners. No. It's like we know how to behave around straight people. But I've noticed that, and it's interesting because when I share that observation with my straight friends, they're almost a little offended at that. And yet, I don't think that's a unique thing, but I don't know. Is that an observation you could make?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I see that dynamic and see, if there's a group of gay guys and whatever campiness or flirtiness is that's kind of flowing through that, and someone that maybe intrinsically or just not really thinking about it, if someone doesn't kind of fit that dynamic, like a straight person might come in with, or a woman walks into the into their presence or something, it changes. The dialogue changes, the words change, even the mannerisms might even change. And I mean, I see that in Black culture too, which is quite interesting.
What?
What?
How so?
How so? Where it's like we've got, this is the way I'm kind of interpreting it at this moment. It's like we've got our own language. We have our own way of just wink, wink, nudge, nudge with each other. We're in on the joke, so to speak.
Shared relatability.
Shared relatability. That, I think that really nails it. And so when someone intrudes that or walks into that space that may not necessarily fit that narrative or that particular dynamic, we change. We change it up. So either to, I don't know, is it to keep our little secret a secret? Or is it to hide what we are, who we are, to that person that might be a stranger or just doesn't fit into that mix? Or is it accommodating for that other person to come in? So that is an interesting dynamic to witness, and why there is that shift.
I think I'm not sure what it's about either, because I don't know that there's any shame about it, but I do know that I find myself changing my tone so that that person who's walked into the situation can feel part of what's happening. Like I don't think, this is an example I was thinking about. At our lodge here, for people to kind of understand, the lodge is here at my house. Once or twice a month, we have kind of an open call. Anyone can come to the lodge. And I have a group of folks who are learning how to work with the fire, and they kind of service the lodge. And a lot of times they're mostly gay guys. Right now. It hasn't always been like that. But right now, for, a little while, it's always been like that.
Right.
And so when the guys come in, what do gay guys do when we see each other?
We hug. We might even kiss.
We hug. We kiss. Like it's a very affectionate engagement.
Right.
And I remember one time, our straight friend was kind of in the lineup, and was kind of watching all this like exchange happen, and he was just kind of standing here. He's like, "Well, where's my hug?" And what's funny is, in my mind, like, I didn't equate him as somebody who would want to have that kind of connection.
Yeah.
With, right? Like, I probably would have just shook his hand or given him a different kind of a hug.
A different kind of hug.
Because I know the kind of hug I give my gay friends is probably not the same as I would give my non-gay friends.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think, because I'm just thinking of what I have done in that case, because I certainly have done that, where the people who I'm very close to, my close gay friends, it's it's a nice big bear hug, wrap my arms around that person. They wrap their arms around me. It's a very close connection. We're face to face. There might be a little kiss on the cheek or something like that. And it's held, and then there's the release. If it was a straight friend, I might give them a hug, but it may not be as long.
It's like the bro thing.
Yeah,
right?
you kind of pull in, and there's a pat. There's that pat.
Yeah.
It almost signals like, okay, we're done.
And then that little push away.
And then you're done, and you kind of make that separation.
Yeah.
And I wonder, the word that keeps popping up is accommodating. That, am I accommodating the person, the non-gay person, so that they feel welcomed or they fit into the group? I still kind of treat them the same, but slightly different, not knowing if they want that kind of affection, from a gay person.
Yeah. It's funny because I grew up in an Italian family, and when you got together, like the extended family and that, the first half hour is greeting everyone,
Right.
hugging and kissing, and guys
Mm-hmm.
kiss guys, and
Yeah.
like it's very different.
Yeah.
And it's interesting watching like Bruce in that experience, because he's, Bruce is pretty an affectionate kind of a guy that way, but I can tell that it's like it goes above his his most common threshold.
Most common. Yeah.
And so I kind of make that comparison as there's this part of me that feels like I have to kind of keep an eye on Bruce to like rescue him.
Mm.
So I kind of feel the same thing with my straight friend.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then, but as we're talking, it's interesting what my friend says. Where's my hug, right?
Mm.
And in the tone of his voice was, I want to be part of that affection.
Mm.
And I think, boy, what is it about me that thinks that they wouldn't be interested? Or, yeah, like I make an assumption.
Yeah. Do you know what the assumption is?
Yeah, the assumption is they're not interested, or they don't want to get caught up in the gay thing, or I don't want to push them too hard, kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's kind of my assumptions that run through my head. It's the fear, I guess, of am I coming on to them in some kind of way? And again, but that's on me, not on them. It's I'm worried that I'm projecting something that they don't want.
Yeah.
Like too much affection, and that might mean something else than what it really is.
Yeah.
So I know that's why I think I tend to hold back, or my hugs or greetings might be different. For fear of offending them. So in a way, like I said, I'm accommodating or I'm protecting them in some odd way.
Yeah.
But interesting that, in that circumstance that you described, it was like they were, but I know I want that.
Yeah.
Like I want that affection.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, and it helped. It gives maybe it did for you, but it makes me rethink.
Yeah.
That whole circumstance.
I think too it could be generational. Like I know my father's generation, of course, and I grew up in Michigan, car factories, industrial kind of thinking. Male on male affection is not generally encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of the fear of homophobia.
Yeah.
Right. But, so I know I grew up in a space where male on male affection was discouraged. It's something that I've learned and acquired since coming out and leaving Michigan. I'm thinking about, and you know who this guy is. I have a friend in Colorado. He stands about 12 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not 12 is an exaggeration, maybe more like 8. But I love my Big Bob.
Mm.
And he's as far as I know, he's as heterosexual as he can be. But he eludes this magical loving energy.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever when I'm around Bob, I love his hugs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so embodied. But what I know about him is this is a man who has done some really profound and deep work.
Yes.
And has been able to find his voice that way,
mm-hmm.
which is interesting. I think it gives permission to everyone. But like as a gay man, I have no hesitation in how I relate with him,
Mm-hmm.
and the love and friendship that we share.
Yeah.
And yet I know I don't share that. I feel like each of my straight friends is somewhere in that continuum. Maybe I'm just kind of navigating the level of safety. So Bob would be like a 10. He's like full on safety.
Just easy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then there are some other friends where I love them. And I love them profoundly. And some of them I think of as like sons, and it's that kind of endearing quality. But But it's interesting. I always kind of, maybe this is just me. Jerry's therapy hour. I sometimes wonder if the invisible mistress is homophobia, internalized and external. Like the there's still this anxiety, I think, in society of being perceived as gay,
Right.
especially amongst men. And I think the younger community may be a little bit more fluid with this, but I think maybe 40 and over, there's still kind of that question. But I don't know. What do you think? Am I making sense?
You're making
Okay.
a lot of sense. I'm right on the same page with you, and I'll even go back to kind of that cultural experience. Just thinking about just how I was raised, and what kind of affection or how affection was shared. Even with my mom and dad, there wasn't a whole lot of affection as far as touch. A little bit, um, and it's interesting because it's just one of those things that's just not talked about. It's just practiced because there wasn't hugs and kisses. That just became the norm, right? And so I didn't expect to get a big hug from my mom or a big hug from my dad. But interestingly enough, and I think you said this for yourself, things shifted for me personally when I came out. And starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with my gayness and how I express that. And it was, with my friends, it was a hug, right? And I started to extend that to my parents. And interestingly enough, after coming out, and it's almost into this interesting flip, my father and I started to hug more.
Mm.
And it was just a beautiful thing to have shift from all that time where there was none of that to a time now where whenever we saw each other, it was a hug.
Yeah.
And now, in same with my mom, was a hug and a kiss. But that was just something that I just didn't really grow up with. But I think we all kind of evolved together as I was getting more comfortable with my own sexuality and being able to share my affection, that they kind of, were in that mix as well.
Yeah.
But to go beyond that, still with family, out, my extended family, you still didn't see a lot of hugging and kissing.
Yeah.
Unless they were, a husband and wife or something, not even a sister and, a daughter and mother. You didn't really see that kind of affection. So very cultural for me.
Yeah.
In just how I grew up. And how that's now evolved. And with friends, same thing, where I have some straight male friends who I get a sense that they are just comfortable with themselves because they've done some kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been therapy or some kind of spiritual work or something. And so they exude this ease and comfort and compassion, even where I'm still a little reserved, but they'll come in for the big hug and give me the big bear hug. I'm like, and so I'm a little shocked by it. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I receive and reciprocate. And so like with Bob, it's like now these people are, I can easily just, go up and give that big hug of affection.
Yeah.
There's no worry or fear of being seen in a different way, in a different light or whatever. It's just, they're just compassionate people.
Yeah.
And that's just how they express themselves.
Interesting where this conversation's going, right? like kind of navigating the particular challenges.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before on the podcast, and I know I've talked about this. I sometimes think one of the greatest casualties of homophobia has been straight men. And people are like, what do you mean? But I think the fear of being perceived as gay causes me then to censor, in some regards, how I might want to more authentically express my sense of intimacy and connection to another man. And so, historically, I think there's been these barriers
Yeah.
and these places of suspect where, people hesitate about, can I have that connection?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people who have done that work who kind of get past those barriers. I don't think they're the same casualties, but yeah, I mean, we all suffer through racism and homophobia and sexism and stuff like that. But I do sometimes think that the fear of being perceived as gay has been the source of a lot of contentions and miscommunications. Because I'm the kind of person, if you come into my home, this is my space, and I want you to feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I'm like you. I've got a lot of friends who are not gay, who I think they just kind of come to expect it here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, in your home, in your space, you've created a space
Mm-hmm.
that is open arms and is open to everybody. And people are attracted to that
Yeah.
because that's what they're wanting, that's what they're needing. And so, they might even expect some kind of, hug or affection, just some kind of welcoming experience. And and that's what people get when they come here.
Yeah.
Take this to the grocery store or take this out in public. Would you be the same? Would you, if you saw one of your good friends that is not gay but is very compassionate and can share, who they are, would you, if you saw them in public, would you do the same kind of?
It depends. Like Bob, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guys who come to Lodge, yes.
Yeah.
But I think it would be case by case.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I like this topic of, we're calling it bromance. And I thought, what does that mean?
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. It's an interesting word, and I like the word. And I was just trying to think. I was trying to break it down, and there seems to be many forms of it. Because the way that I think I was introduced to it, probably on television or some kind of social media, even, I don't know, but it was between two straight people, two straight men that just have a very strong connection. And I would equate it to like best friends, like two buddies that maybe grew up together or went to high school together or something. They're just close, and they do everything together. They might even, but I might even categorize that as a bromance. It's about, knowing each other very well, have some kind of relatability, maybe some history, some, it might be even just a activity that they're like, they golf together or they play ball together or something that just brings them together so tightly. And they love each other. They really do genuinely love each other. But it's not romantic. It's not romantic love, but it is a different type of intimacy and connection that they share. And so it's been termed, air quotes, bromance.
Mm-hmm.
It just does not perhaps involve a sexual component to it, but there is an intimacy about it, which is very, it's appealing to me, and I love seeing that because I think, as we were talking earlier, you just don't see men connect in this way, whether it's a big hug or an arm around the shoulder and they hold on to it and are close and sit close and things and laugh together and all of that. I think that's just a beautiful thing to witness and see. And does it have to be sexual? No, of course not. Because what they have established seems to be just a very beautiful connection. It's a relationship. It's a relation. Have you seen anything like that, or how would you begin?
Never.
How would you, Kat, or what do you? How would you?
Well, I'm just thinking about, right, the relationships I have in my life, and I'm thinking, well, you. I can think of a few others, but I mean, there are guys. How long have we known each other? About 42, 43 years now.
How long have you been married? Or no,
Well,
30
this
was
November will be 30.
30, so we've known each other at least 30 years.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about conversations we've had, struggles that we've had, life, events that we've kind of held space for each other.
Yeah, and certainly have shared adventures together, travel, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, we did Peru a few times. And I think it was just earlier this week I called you to say, I just need like some feedback. I need, right? Because I know if I reach out and have that, and so yeah, like you're a very intimate part of my life and Bruce's life. I think you guys refer to each other as sisters.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's more than a friendship. Like there's this layer of intimacy and connectedness that has absolutely nothing to do about sexuality. It has everything to do with kind of like this heart connective piece.
I like that. Yeah.
Cole, who we've had on the show, right? We kind of share these Sicilian roots, and Cole and Nick are kind of newer folks in our life, within the last 3-ish plus years. But again, we can have like these really, what I treasure about these friendships is the ability to have candid conversation, to tease the shit out of each other, but to also support each other and to love each other.
Yes.
And Nick, who's been on the show, right? We work out all the time. We're very different personalities with each other, but I think that's part of the bromance is like there's this permission to be who we are and to not feel any pressure to be anything other than who we are. So I feel like I have that with you, with them. And that's very different than like my relationship with Bruce. Right. And the reason I'm hesitating is I talk to a lot of gay men in my practice. And right, the whole catalyst of Mindfully Gay, and before that, Queer Spirit, was trying to create community connections. Because what I hear guys frequently saying is how they feel like they're navigating life alone. Right? And whether it's been issues with our moms or health issues, or like there are things that you and Nick and Cole know about me as an individual that I just would never share with anyone else.
Exactly. Right.
And so it's that sense of communion and connection. And I believe there's a lot of people who are really hungry with that, especially gay men.
Yeah.
And I think there's this interesting, I don't want this to sound judgmental, but I think sometimes the question of sexuality, like sexual engagement, sometimes messes that connection. Like, in the sense that, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I think our fear of it, well, we've kind of heard that. How many guys have been coming to our events and our retreats and have said, I'm just glad that the sexuality piece is off the table.
Yeah.
Right. And so for our viewers, we're not discouraging people from making heart connections and even sex connections if they want.
Right.
But at the time of the event or at the time of the retreat, we put sexuality, flirting, we put that up on the shelf. We talk about it. We are mindful of it, but it doesn't become the primary agenda.
Right. This is what I'm kind of visualizing, kind of looking at the bromance and just the depth of our relationship. And it's a depth. There's so many layers. It's multidimensional. that we can have heart to hearts, we can cry, we can then have fun and be catty and all of that, and have these wonderful adventures
And do drag.
and do drag and have our separate lives, right? But there's so many ways that they connect. Our lives connect because of these interconnected um, uh, um, invitations that we've offered each other in this way. And so I see a bromance, or even just our connection. Like, I like that. It's very heart connected, and it's deep. And I think that's what people, gay men in particular, are really looking for. Because I think you're right. There's this aspect of kind of gay life and being a gay man where sex seems to be it's the spotlight. Spotlight is on sex and sexuality and how you express yourself sexually and having sex. And so that becomes, the highlight. And in a way, it can be quite two-dimensional. It's kind of flat. If that's the only way that you can connect to someone, then there's a lot potentially missing. We talked, as I opened up the episode here, I talked about friends with benefits, and I would put that into that category. Meaning, I mean, I'll admit I have friends with benefits. I would even just say fuck buddies. These are guys I just have sex with. That's our only connection. We don't go to movies together. We don't eat together. We don't even have deep conversations really together. We get together for sex, and that's it. And it's a great connection, but that's all it is. And it really doesn't need to be more. That's just how we've established that particular relationship. But there are people who I want to have a deeper connection. It doesn't have to be sexual, but I am searching for that depth. I want to know your heart. I want to know your intentions. I want to know what motivates you. I want to know you. And I think that's what we're attempting at the retreats as well. We're taking the spotlight off of sex for now, so that we can explore those other dimensions of ourselves, our spirituality, our sensuality, our history, our ancestors, how you think, how you feel, all those things, and that's how we connect. When we find out what those interconnections are, and see how those puzzle pieces maybe fit with others, that's how that depth grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said something that kind of triggered this thought about the challenge. I have a hard time talking today. Medications increased today. I think as gay men, we come by this process very innocently. And when I say process, meaning, right, the barrier around our sexuality. Like, we went to the Salt Lake Leather Pride.
Right.
And that was a highly charged sexual environment.
Sure.
Not that anything sexual is going on, maybe some kissing, but how people were dressed and the energy of it. And I think people related to that and had fun with it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I had fun with it. But I think we have been culturated to see that the difference between us and them is what we do sexually.
Yeah. Right?
And my reframe to that is, that's probably the only thing we have in common with other people. There's so many ways to fuck and suck. Right? We try to treat that as something that's so unique.
Yeah.
What's unique is who we choose to do it with.
Right.
Right? Because I would argue the thing that differentiates us from others that has been so under processed and discussed is how we relate to the world emotionally and socially, which is how we started this, right?
Right.
And spiritually.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked about the cultural, right, components. And I think part of that is we grew up in a culture that's been, dogmatically, whether you're Christian or not, it's a Christian incubator. And the heat of the incubator is around shame and guilt,
Right.
right? And so therefore we marginalize ourselves because of the things that we enjoy at that level.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Oh yeah.
And so consequently then we avoid the connections.
Yeah.
We avoid the communications. We avoid like the deeper layers of getting to know each other, or how we see it like with the retreats and our events is how many people contact us saying, I'm afraid because I don't physically measure up. And I'm like, bitch, our beauty is our diversity.
Yes.
Show up.
Show up.
Right?
Oh wow. That's a good thought.
Yeah. And so I think in many ways we are culturated to just see what we do with our dicks as opposed to what we do with our magic wands. Right? Like our ability to love and our ability to create community, our ability, we've talked about this with Morning Wood and we've seen it with our retreats, right? Is when people come together in an environment that's meant to kind of nurture those other components, it happens very quickly.
It does.
Our last retreat, I felt like within the first 45 minutes, guys were like, making the connections. And partly because we just pushed, let's not ignore our sexuality, but let's not prioritize it.
We don't have to prioritize it. That's good. That's good.
I mentioned, you and Cole and Nick, right? I mean, like Bruce and I think of you guys as our brothers. Like we love you guys. And it's because of that space. Like it's not at the absence of sexuality. It's just it's not prioritized.
It's not prioritized. And I would even say the spirit and the energy of our sexuality is embedded in the other ways that we do connect with one another, if that makes any sense.
No. Tell me more.
Well, because, with Bruce, my heart connection to him in part is, we both were raised Catholic. And so that's a deep connection for us. And so we can kind of banter about that.
And there's Winnie and Alice.
And there's Winnie and Alice and cooking. I mean, there's many little, the multidimensional things that really pull us together. And of course the travels and just the time together, all of that. And what's not present is we're not having sex with each other, but I'm saying the energy of that, it's not lost. It's still, I think, pretty fluid in the other ways that we do connect, whether it's talking about food and desserts and looking at cookbooks or looking at architecture or, talking about, whatever.
I have to tell you, whenever there's an opportunity, like, oh, we need to get John a gift. Maybe it's Christmas or a birthday or something. Usually that's my department. However, if it's for John Cottrell, that's Bruce's assignment. And it's always like some big cookbook or some big picture book. And I watch you two girls sit over there just going through the pages.
Yes, exactly. Because that's my love language. And so that's how we communicate. And so I appreciate that very much. And so when that big coffee table cookbook shows up, it's like, oh!
You're blushing.
I am blushing.
I know, it's so funny. I just like, hey, we have to get John a gift. Okay, I'm on it.
Yes, the love language. We had a episode about just love language, and I think maybe that's a piece of that too. Just how people relate to one another.
See, you, Bruce, and Nick should probably go and get lunch because Nick's a foodie.
Oh yes,
right. John and I are foodies too, but at a different level.
way, yeah.
But Nick and Bruce, like when we go out to dinner, like their connection is always they're evaluating the restaurant, the decor, the ambience.
Right.
John are like, "Where's the food?"
I love it. Love those dynamics. So I think that's how people can begin to make these more intimate connections with one another, if they can visualize perhaps taking the spotlight off of the sexual piece and the expectation or whatever we put, the value of, being sexual beings, if we just dim that light for just, we're not turning it off, we're just putting it over here to
Yeah.
the side for a moment so that we can really highlight these other aspects of ourselves.
Yeah. So can we pick up?
Mhm.
I kind of want to give some attention to friends with benefits and fuck buddies.
Okay. Yeah.
And, even groups, we have a couple groups here in the Valley, right, that are kind of,
Sex positive.
sex positive, sex oriented. But the reason I was pausing, I was thinking, well, I don't know if that fits into the friendship realm.
Mm.
But yet I am very conscious of friendship circles in which sex parties and sex environments are very much a part of that.
Yes. Right.
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 and call me. No.
His number is.
This is about body, mind, and spirit, and I'm all about the body.
Okay. Get into it.
It's interesting because I think this is language and concepts that are very well known in our community, but I don't know that I hear people really talking about it or the implications of it. And yeah, I guess I just want to give some air about it.
Yeah. What just popped into my head was, we are from a certain era, and so we may have a certain name for some of these things, like, fuck buddies or friends with benefits. But I'm curious if those are popular terms now. Maybe there's another way of declaring what that is today. I don't know. Help us out. Give us a comment. Bring us up to date with how maybe some folks are seeing themselves in these types of relationships where social groups, gatherings, or even just a circle of friends. It's very social. It's probably very heartfelt, and they also have sex together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know in some cases people are just like, I want my friendships and my sex like different and distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Some people incorporate those together.
Yeah.
I think culturally, right, the marriage norm is you're my one and only,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're polygamous. Right. But the cultural norm is definitely until death do us part. You're my one and only. And even Esther Pearl, not too long ago on a Dan Savage podcast commercial, she was on there and she was kind of confronting some of those notions and how they kind of create staled relationship dynamics.
Oh.
Well, because I can tell you as a therapist, very seldom have I ever worked with a couple that has synchronistic libidos.
Oh, I hear you. Right.
Right. Like my idea of sex would be 3 times a week, but then my partner's, he wants it nightly.
Yeah.
Right.
Twice a day.
Or I'll take it once a month.
Mm.
Right. And so, what she's saying is the concept of you're my one and only can hold someone hostage sexually if you have one partner who wants a lot of sexuality and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
Right. And I think it is interesting. I wish I understood the history of this. It would be interesting to find someone to bring on the podcast who might know this. Is like, how did we come to create these dynamics in our culture and our community? Right. Where I think in the gay community, sexuality is much more liberated than those that are culturated in really Christian dogma.
I agree. And that's one of the things I'm really proud of as a gay person and to be in the gay community, in the gay world, is that we've been able to define what we or how we express ourselves, even in relationship. where like you might go on to Scruff, for example, and you might, they'll say relationship status, and you can put, different things. You can put single, married, open relationship, poly. I mean, you can put different things. And I love that about our community, because I think that really expresses, like you said, that liberation, that freedom that we have as gay men, especially in around sex and sexuality. Without giving too much away, some of my connections, my fuck buddies, they're married. They have a husband, but like you said, their sex dynamic is very different.
Mm.
So I'm only assuming that they had a conversation about that and made it okay to have an open relationship where the one that's a little bit more, that needs a little bit more, wants a little bit more sex in their lives, can go outside of the relationship to have it.
Mm.
That's my assumption. And to me, I think that's quite healthy. That they can, that the couple has had that conversation, made some agreements, what goes and what doesn't go, etc., and then they can go play. So I guess that's the point. Just the liberation and freedom that I think we have as gay men to express ourselves, and we can label it in any way.
Yeah. So being you're the expert, define fuck buddy.
I would say, in a way, I kind of have, like, the friends, some of the fuck buddies that I have. It's just for sex. I just know guys. I know their first name. I may not know their last name, but we just get together for sex. Period. That's it. And there's just nothing else attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
Where if I was to kind of go up a notch, or I don't know, friends with benefits, I see that more as maybe some, if I took that fuck buddy to the next level. Oh, we do go out, we go out, maybe we date, or we at least grab a bite to eat, or we have a conversation before or after our activities, or play around, or we just do other things. We're friends, and we also fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And but even on the social level, it's just social. For me, it's not very deep. I'm not talking to them about, queer spirit or mindfully gay necessarily. I may say, oh yeah, I do a podcast, something just very superficial, or, oh, what's the weather like, or, oh, did you see that last movie, or what are you watching this program? A little bit more social on that kind of level, right? Those are my friends with benefits. We do things together, and we also hop in bed together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I would maybe define those.
In bed?
We hop and jump around, yeah.
Wow.
It's very active.
I was thinking your bed was looking kind of beat down. Yeah, I think the thing that kind of when we say like friends with benefits, right, or fuck buddies, I like to emphasize the concept of buddy and friend, right? Like if I were in a social event, I feel like if it were a fuck buddy or friends with benefits, it would be somebody that I wouldn't hesitate to kind of, if I saw you like at a fundraiser or something, to come up and say, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, right. Which is interesting because it's one thing I see a lot on the sex apps is people looking for FWB, friends with benefits, right? And yet it's interesting. My sense is that doesn't happen through those avenues. What do you think?
I think I think I know what you're alluding to, where you may see that on a profile on an app, and let's say you had a connection with them in person, and then you see them at the grocery store or at an event or something, and you get completely ignored.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, I thought we, had a little intimate connection at some point. Why the, you know, blank stare or no acknowledgement at all? That baffles me too, because I
Yeah.
get that too. Like, I guess they saw friends with benefits as something else than how I would define it.
Well, I've even like there's these there's two people I can think of that I've spent a lot of time chatting with on the apps.
Mm.
And some of it's really kind of flirtatious, and some of it, like one's an artist, does a beautiful art, and we've talked a lot about their art and what have you. And I've always thought, I don't care if we ever hook up. I just feel like I've made this connection, right? And but then I've seen them in public.
Mm-hmm.
I know they know who I am.
Yeah. They're like, hey.
and it's like I'm invisible, and I'm like,
Mm.
wow, that feels so junior high to me.
Mm.
That
Mm-hmm.
and then so the other day someone hit me up from that situation. I said, wow, that's interesting. I thought I had offended you,
Oh.
right? Because I saw you and I went up to say hi to you, and you practically turned around. And so is there anything we need to
Mm.
clear the air about? And
Yeah.
they kind of acknowledged their discomfort in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would we be uncomfortable with that?
Mm-hmm.
If I were chatting with you on Facebook, does that carry the same connotation if I'm talking to you off a Grinder?
Mm.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe there's just a safety in the app where the flirtations can happen.
Safe from, here's my question.
Yeah.
Safe from what?
Right.
Right? What is it that happens when I see sexy John over here on Scruff, but then if I see you in person, I run.
Mm.
Or I pretend like I don't see you.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm afraid of the implications of being seen with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the dynamics of junior high behavior.
Yes.
And it's interesting to witness full-grown men behaving this way, which again, it takes me back to, is this the consequence of internalized homophobia? Is this the consequence of some space of insecurity about the interconnection of my sexuality with my sociality?
Yeah.
Making up a word
Making
today.
up a word, but well, I think yes and yes. And I would even add, like you said, it's kind of junior high, kind of a response. And in a way, especially those who may have come out late, they may be going through an adolescence and don't know really how to manipulate in that circle. I'm just throwing that out there. But...
No, I used to promote that idea all the time. That what does Erickson say about delayed developmental processes?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we get stuck in a particular mindset until we've worked through the question of that identity.
Yeah.
And so that could be it. But still, come on, you guys.
And I think, a part of maybe approaching that is just the way that we've been approaching, coming to, a retreat, for example. Just show up. Show up. Maybe in those circumstances where you see, you've been chatting online and then you see them in person, just say hi.
Yeah.
Just say hi. What's the harm in that?
Yeah. What could you possibly compromise or lose?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ability to say, let's take it further, right? Is, oh, well, I was talking to you on Grindr, so my assumption is you just want to have sex with me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And don't flatter yourself. But the other piece is, I'm really interested in being your friend, but I don't know that I'm interested in going to that space. that I'm not interested in pursuing anything sexual with you, but I'm certainly open to a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's interesting, our capacity to know how. I think this is one of our earlier podcasts. How do we authentically and kindly communicate intent and boundaries?
Yeah.
As an older man, I get it. I was never into older men, right? And so I kind of start out with an assumption, let's try to build a friendship or a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And if we decide it wants to go into another space, that could be fine.
That's fine. Mm-hmm.
But if you're really clear about not wanting to go into that space, okay, I don't want to go in that space with everyone either.
Right.
Despite my reputation. No.
Oh man.
So I think there's that space of how do we get. I think the root of connections with others is the willingness to be connected to oneself, to have clarity about what I want, and then to be able to kindly communicate that in whatever way it needs to be communicated.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be the foundation of great friendships. It's interesting to me too, because I think you and I have been friends forever, and I have other friends. It's interesting how quickly people who are curious about it was like, well, have you ever had sex with them? I'm like, well, first of all, why is that your business?
Mm-hmm.
But second of all, isn't that interesting that we want to kind of make that linkage?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what that's about either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, again, that assumption or stereotype of being gay means sex.
Yeah.
Gay equals sex.
Yeah.
And so we just jump to that.
Yeah.
We jump to that conclusion. And so, you mean you're just friends? What? And you don't have sex? What?
You hold hands at amusement parks and haunted houses. No.
So maybe it is quite mysterious for people, and maybe hopefully this conversation is starting to break down some of those barriers.
I think in the absence of conversation, in absence of communal dialogue, like, wouldn't it be great to have a town hall meeting with like 30 gay guys and just having people just talk about their experiences, not from a blaming or shaming place, but to say, wow, as a big guy in the community, I sometimes feel overlooked, or as a twink, or as an older person, or as a younger person. Like, if we could create communal dialogue, because I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think what would happen in the process of that dialogue, we've become really good about trying to get politicians and society to see us. But we haven't put that same effort in seeing each other.
Seeing ourselves, number one, and then seeing each other, right?
And I think therein would be the power to shift the cultural dialogue within the gay men community.
Yeah, it's got to come from the inside, so it can exude outward, so that there is a different perspective and an idea of what it means to be a gay man in particular.
Maybe this winter that needs to be one of our events, as a gay town hall.
Ooh, yeah.
At your house.
At my house.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Well, and again, the objective of the podcast, you and I are having a conversation. We're inviting people to listen, and people may or may not agree with us. People may have different conclusions. We're just trying to ignite a fire. So go to your Sunday brunch with your friends, have this conversation, and let us know where you agree and disagree.
Yeah.
Or what have we missed?
What have we missed? Exactly. Yeah. What have we missed? What dialogue are we not having? What did we miss in this particular conversation? We want to learn from you. I think, one of my favorite episodes as of late was our intergenerational conversation with Quinn and Andy, and just having that dialogue. If there's more of that, just more of that, I think our communities can really grow and build and bond. So, yeah, we'd love for you to continue, one, giving us ideas on topics, but also, give us some comments on this particular episode. What do we miss? Do you agree? Do you disagree? How can we expand on this? How can we even, maybe put this more out into the community? How can we help our brothers out there to find bromances, to find those heart connections in a very, in a very deep and meaningful way? Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds wonderful. So we thank you for listening and encourage you to join us in future podcasts. And we'll be having spring retreat in the spring. We have monthly events happening. Right. So please come and join us.
Yes, check out mindfullygay.com. You'll see all our events there. If you are on the socials, see us on TikTok, find us on Instagram, and leave a comment, and we'd love to hear from you. So until next time, I'm John, and that's
Jerry.
And we'll see you next time on the Mindfully Gay podcast.
Thanks for spending time with us on the Mindfully Gay podcast.
We'd love to hear your stories. How do you experience connection, friendship, or brotherhood in your own life? Share with us on Instagram at mindfully_gay.
And visit mindfullygay.com for upcoming events, retreats, and free community gatherings that help bring our conversation to life.
If this episode resonated with you, please rate and review the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps more people find us and join this growing community.